Maria Fareri Children's Hospital is the only children's hospital in the country named for a child. Maria was the daughter, the 13-year-old daughter of a very successful business developer. And one summer evening, she was bitten by a bat. She did not know it. Next day, she didn't feel well. They went to the doctor. He said, take Tylenol. Next day, they went to a local hospital. He said, get her over to Westchester Medical Center because of our research facilities. It was past the 72-hour window for the antibodies, and she died. So about a month after her death, her parents came to visit the CEO of the medical center and said, your doctors are fabulous, the care our little girl got was superb, your facilities for children are lousy. And John said, and he's a real estate developer, he says, I'm going to build you a children's hospital. John Fareri, and is very involved. And within 2 years, he had raised the money for the bond issue and the whole bit, and it just took off like topsy. And Paraco was involved at the very beginning. And then late last fall, Diane and I were talking, and she said, I need a project for our employees, and we want to be involved with the Children's Hospital. And at just about the same time, Dr. Stidham and Michelle, our therapist for cochlear implant, were saying we really need books. We need multiple copies of each title so that every child in the health program is reading the same book, hearing the same words. Would you just give us the background on that? Either one of you?
And in 2019, we actually opened the Cochlear Implant Center so that we can have all of our services coordinated at one center, including all of our audiology services because children need their implants programmed, speech therapy services, which Michelle is really amazing and so wonderful for all of our patients. And we really wanted to provide beyond that services that allow our patients to not only do okay with their implants, but to really thrive. And so that means providing extra services so they can have the support that they need. And one of the things that we've recognized kind of all along is that our children need to be able to read oral language, and Michelle works with them in therapy through that. And to do that, we have to have books. And many of our children have a lot of books in their households, and not everyone does. And certainly not always the same books that we need to work on with therapy. So we came up with this idea kind of initially pre-COVID, and then we also kind of pivoted with COVID. Basically wanted to make sure all of our children had access to books that she could work on both with therapy, but that they can read with their families at home and continue to utilize them.
This is Brent from Portchester, Mr. Armentano, and this is Mr. Israel, who runs this whole place, and Dr. Gwitz, who makes everything together.
Pleasure.
Yes, and when did you receive the implant? Just recently? Since you were 1 year old?
Yeah, since I was old enough to wear.
I'm so happy to hear that.
How many children?
Well, I see both children in the middle, but at this time I have about 15 children. Very unique.
And it changes month to month, and there's some that come in and some that go out. So our goal is to, every child that's in the program to continue to have services. So we implant, if we identify a baby, we implant them as soon as we're allowed to, which when Jocelyn was a baby, that was at 1. Her family was very proactive. They got all of the pieces together that we needed. And that's why you see Jocelyn is a very smart young lady. Can you tell them some of the cool things that you do? Like your after school activities?
I do tutoring and after school, but only on Mondays and Wednesdays.
And what grade are we in?
I'm in 4th grade.
4th grade. Very nice.
I'm going to 5th grade.
Going to 5th grade.
Jocelyn's in a mainstream school.
Yeah.
She gets regular education services with some extra services.
Do you play music instrument?
Yeah, I play in the orchestra, I play the violin, and out of school, I play the piano.
You also got some time to have some fun once in a while, too, right? We're in New York, and today we have about 430 employees. And you know, we service communities throughout, you know, Westchester and Hudson Valley and Long Island, and about 6 or 7 states, Connecticut. And I always find that each community has different needs, but I think being good corporate citizens, you have to basically try to make sure that you try to tailor your giving to the communities that need it the most. And it is a corporate responsibility from my standpoint for every corporation to have some kind of giving program to give back to the communities. I'm very happy we reconnected with this program. It was a small gift from us to get us going, and we do appreciate you giving us a tremendous amount of attention. I don't know if we deserve it or not, you know, but this young lady certainly does. So thank you very, very much.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
So can you talk a little bit about the Cochlear Implant program? You're really doing incredible work here. Do you have a sense of how many families you've been able to help so far?
Oh wow, that's a good question. We have actively in the program, you know, we have over 200 plus patients. Not all of those are children. We have children and adults, but we have, you know,
I
certainly.
wasn't aware that adults were involved as well.
We do have adults that have hearing loss as well, but we have, you know, obviously for this aspect of the program really directed at children. And I think we currently have over 100 families that are actively involved. We've had some children who've implanted and grown up and moved on, but you know, people who receive cochlear implants need continued care for a lifetime because we have to reprogram the implant. So this has been a program that was very small when I came here and has grown and grown. And one of the things that we think is so important is providing these ancillary services for them so that not only do we have the technology for the patients, but that they get all of the needed care so they can thrive.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what does it feel like to be able to help these children and their families and watch as the children are able to hear for the first time? That must be an incredible feeling for you.
So really there's nothing better. I feel so blessed to have this be what I get to do for a living. I think that kind of some of the most exciting parts and the things that bring me to tears are when I have my babies that I get they implant, and then for the first time I hear them talk, which will sometimes be several months later because they're babies, right? But you know, when they first can say my name, often I'll cry. And then when I have a kid like Jocelyn, who is just amazing, right? I mean, the thing you kind of forget with her because she's just so incredible is she's deaf. Without her implants and without all the therapy and the services, she wouldn't be speaking, she wouldn't be going to a mainstream school. She's not only doing that, she's thriving. She's, you know, she's doing all the things normal kids do. So hot and just a wonderful child. So that's what makes all this worthwhile. And honestly, I'm super lucky to be able to do what I do.
Years ago, a little boy had cystic fibrosis, and the treatments for the pulmonary disease were very painful. Every time he had to go to the doctors, his mother would stop at Woolworths. Inez is too young to know about Woolworths, but Diane and I know. And she'd buy him a stuffed piglet. That was his favorite story. Ultimately, he's 25 years old. The Children's Hospital opens up, and his brother says to him, "Get rid of the dolls."
Oh,
and
he donated to them?
Isn't that delightful?
Oh, adorable.
This is a decommissioned Westchester fire engine it was cut, and it was lifted into place by the crane, and then the building was built around it.
Unbelievable.
And these badges, the badges up top, I'm going to sit down for a minute because I'm going to look at these. Those represent all of the fire departments around Westchester County that participate in annual fundraising for the Children's Hospital. So now these rooms during COVID are on a reservation basis, and then they get cleaned after each child leaves. They get